Good afternoon, YouTubers. It is April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2013, 3:28 p.m. I'm going to read John chapter 12 from the Amplified Bible. I went into my topics and it pulled up, it pulled up John chapter 12 verse 48, so I figured I would just, which John chapter 12 verse 48 is, anyone who rejects me and persistently sets me at naught, refusing to accept my teaching, has his judge. However, for the very message that I have spoken will itself judge and convict him at the last day. That is the verse that I was led to, and that is the verse that I am going to. That, I know Passover is over and Passover Resurrection Day is done, but we're gonna read chapter 12 anyways. It doesn't matter. I could read John chapter 12 in August. So 6 days before the Passover Feast, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus was, who had died and whom he had raised from the dead too. So they made him a supper, and Martha served. But Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of ointment of pure liquid nard, a rare perfume, that was very expensive, and she put it on Jesus' feet and wiped them with her hair, and the whole house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, the one of his disciples who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii, a year's wages for an ordinary workman, and that money given to the poor, the destitute?" 6. Now he did not say this because he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and having the bag, the money box, the purse of the 12, he took for himself what was put into it, pilfering the collections. But Jesus said, "Let her alone. It was intended that she should keep it for the time of my preparation for burial. She has kept it that she might have it for the time of my embalming." I won't go about, him being a thief, because, there's he's a thief. And what more can be said about that? But the smell, literally fragrance the house. Can you imagine how purified that was? And think about the oils and that we got now. How, the smell, some of them are strong, but they're all diluted now. Could you imagine the smell that actually would be because of how pure it is? Because it's not diluted? That would be just like overwhelmingly. And it was meant to, because, like the next line says, you always have the poor with you. The poor is always going to be with you. There's always going to be poor people around you. But you do not always have me. He was going to be leaving in, what did it say, 6 days. So she did him a great service. She was preparing him for burial, purifying him. If you couldn't even, even purify him any purer than what he already was. Alright, verse 9. Now a great crowd of the Jews heard that he was at Bethany, and they came there, not only because of Jesus, but that they also might see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. 10. So the chief priests planned to put Lazarus to death also. And we're going to put somebody who was already dead and brought back to life, back to death again. You know that saying, been there, done that. Because on account of him, many of the Jews were going away, they were withdrawing from and leaving the Judeans and believing in and adhering to Jesus and what he was teaching, what he was showing, what God was, what the truth, the light, the real. So, they were mad, they were pissed because they were taking away their money and their people, their money. And right there's what I said, their money. They're taking their money and their people away. Jesus was, because he was following them. Because Jesus was teaching the truth. He was teaching the truth about his Father. And they didn't want that. They wanted them to believe what they said, what he said, what they said. They wanted them to believe what they said was true, not what Jesus said. 12. The next day, a vast crowd of those who had come to the Passover Feast heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. 13. So they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him. And as they went, they kept shouting, Hosanna! Blessed is he, and praise to him who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel. Could you imagine that? They're out there just throwing these leaves down and just screaming, Hosanna! Blessed is he, and praise to him who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel. 14. And Jesus, having found a young donkey, rode upon it, as it is written in the Scriptures. It was written that he sent his 2 servants to find a young donkey, and if they came across a man, or came across anybody questioned them, saying, the Lord requires the use of the donkey, and it would be like, all right, or something similar to that. And they took the ass back to Jesus so that Jesus could come riding into town on the ass. And Jesus, having found the young donkey, rode upon it just as it is written in the Scriptures. 15. Do not fear, O daughter of Zion. Look, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey's colt. His disciples did not understand and could not comprehend the meaning of these things at first. But when Jesus was glorified and exalted, they remembered that these things had been written about him and had been done to him. So after everything was done to him, the crucifixion and the death, and so it must have been maybe sometime, it doesn't say when, so it could have been even after the resurrection, that they remembered that these things were written in Scripture, that this is what was supposed to happen. And they knew that he was Jesus. Well, I mean, they didn't need that proof, but there was the proof right there. It just spelled it out perfectly, and there was no denying. Alright, I'll stop right there. So, there was no denying, you cannot deny that it was in black and white right there. It was in the scriptures. It was going to happen just the way it was foretold. And it happened just the way it was foretold. And he even said it, and they remembered him saying it. So, alright, my brothers and sisters, I shall return with another section of John chapter 12. That was up to verse 16, so we will start on verse 17 and return.